Good day, scholars. I am Dr. Twyla Williams, and I love research. This week, we are going to talk about two major types of data analyses, and we will delve into those procedures, the ones that are used in qualitative analysis specifically. The two that we will discuss this week are thematic analysis and interpretive analysis. As doctoral students, you will learn that understanding the nuances between these two approaches, it will empower you to choose the best fit for your particular research study or research topic. And so it's very important that we learn about this. I do need to give a disclaimer. This particular lecture is intended to be foundational. You will have a course that is dedicated to qualitative collection and design. And so a little bit about what we talked about last week, as well as what I'm talking about now. However, this is serving again as some foundational information that will be brief, but it will help you to transition into the next course and start thinking about what that data collection and analysis looks like. We would be very remiss if we did not discuss these two topics, though, when having a course that focuses on design. Because when you're looking at design, you have to decide which approach would probably fit it best as far as analyzing the study that you're conducting. So that being said, today we're going to define both methods. We'll discuss some similarities. We'll talk about some differences, and we'll explore about when you can think about whether you should use it or not, and which one is most appropriate in whatever context. So let's get started. First of all, in defining thematic analysis, it is a qualitative research approach that focuses on identifying, analyzing, and reporting patterns or themes within the data. And so, in that context, there are some key features that we can talk about when we're talking about thematic analysis. One of them being flexibility. Flexibility is a big part of thematic analysis because it can be used across different kinds of theoretical frameworks, and it's adaptable to different types of qualitative data, such as interviews, focus groups, textual data. And so you can use this analytical process when using those data sources. Also, the process of thematic analysis typically involves several phases. You have the familiarization of the data, generating your initial codes, searching for themes, reviewing the themes, defining and naming the themes, and then producing a final report. And somewhere in that mix, you have to understand that you're going to move from those codes and you're going to bring those, group them into categories, and then you'll take the categories, you will group those into themes, and the themes are intended to answer your research questions directly. Okay, so it's a process. The other characteristic of thematic analysis, when we're defining it, is we can talk about the outcomes when we have thematic analysis. And the result should be a rich and detailed account of the data. It should highlight both the individual and common experiences related to the research question. Okay, so those are what the outcomes look like. But overall, thematic analysis is going to provide you with a straightforward way to interpret your qualitative data. It makes it one of the most widely used analyses processes in qualitative research. You notice when we went over all of the different designs, I don't think there was one week where we did not talk about thematic analysis, even if it was not one of the major analysis techniques. It could be used in some designs in one way or another. So, in contrast, let's define what interpretive analysis looks like. Interpretive analysis often is associated with interpretive phenomenological analysis, IPA. I'll say that again, interpretive phenomenological analysis, IPA. And so it makes sense to think that IPA would be associated with phenomenology, and it is, thus the name. But it seeks to understand how individuals make sense of their experiences. And there's some key aspects to interpretive analysis that we can think about. We can also talk about what is the focus on meaning in interpretive. We talked about thematic. Well, the meaning in interpretive lies in exploring the meanings that participants attach to the experiences. And this is deeply rooted in subjective interpretation of the participants. So there's a lot of subjectivity here in interpretive analysis. The process for interpretive analysis typically emphasizes things like in-depth engagement with individual cases. It has a detailed interpretation of the participants' narratives, and it also intends to understand the context and the background of the participant experiences, which is a little bit different than thematic analysis. And that's some differences here, and we'll talk a little bit about that some more later. The outcomes for interpretive analysis, the result again is a nuanced understanding of the phenomena under study, but it acknowledges the complexity of the human experience and interpretation. So it goes a little bit further than thematic analysis will go when it comes to this. Interpretive analysis, it can illuminate how particular experiences are shaped by culture, how they're shaped by cultural norms, societal norms, how it's shaped by personal history. And this offers some additional rich insights into the human condition. And so that again, that outcome is a little bit different here. So when we're talking about thematic analysis and interpretive analysis, there are some similarities that we can talk about here and just hit on just a few of them and examine what they are. First of all, they both have a qualitative focus. Both methods are rooted in qualitative research, and they aim to understand the human experience, perspectives, and meanings. Okay, so both interpretive and thematic do this. Both of them use or have the same data types. Both approaches can be applied to various qualitative data, such as interviews, written text, and focus group discussions. You can use either one, just depends on the intention of your study. Both of them also include an iterative process. Okay, iterative process. This is going to require some active engagement and immersion in the data and several rounds of the data. So that iterative process, it allows researchers to refine their understanding as they progress. And this is characteristic of both thematic and interpretive analysis. Another similarity that they have is that there's some flexibility in application. Researchers can be adept at both approaches to fit the context of their studies and to fit the specific goals of their research. Both of them have that flexibility component there. And so while these similarities, they highlight some overlapping philosophies, it's also crucial to understand the distinct emphases of each one of these because they do have different emphases, as they say. So we talked a little bit about the similarities. Let's speak about some differences because differences are important also. Um, some key differences between the two. I think I have two or three of them here, but a purpose and focus. What's different? What's different between thematic and interpretive analysis? Well, the focus for thematic analysis is on identifying and analyzing patterns across the data. It emphasizes common themes that's going to arise from the participant responses. In contrast, interpretive analysis, it aims to delve a bit deeper into understanding the individual experience and how they articulate their meaning. It is concerned with contextualizing these experiences, not just coming up with these common themes as in thematic analysis, but contextualizing these experiences within the broader socio-cultural framework. Okay, remember that socio-cultural framework that's attached to interpretive analysis focus. They are also different in their depth of analysis. And so for thematic analysis, it generally takes a more descriptive route to get to the themes and the patterns at a higher level without necessarily probing into the participants' deeper meanings. Okay, doesn't necessarily do that. However, interpretive analysis does. It engages in a more interpretive process. It focuses on nuances and complexities. It goes deeper of how individuals can construct meaning through their lived experiences. So it's a much deeper dive when you use IPA. Another difference would be the outcome orientation. So for thematic analysis, this outcome is supposed to produce an overview of those themes, and it may be generalizable across the population. That's not the case with interpretive analysis. It, on the other hand, it aims for a comprehensive understanding of a smaller number of cases, but it gives some rich, detailed insight without the aim of generalizability. Okay. So, thematic analysis, generalizable. Interpretive analysis, not so much. Other differences between thematic analysis and interpretive analysis would be the philosophical underpinnings. For thematic analysis, while it's flexible, it may not explicitly engage with philosophical assumptions. It just may not about knowledge and meaning. It just doesn't necessarily do that. Whereas in interpretive analysis, it's often grounded in things such as phenomenology, as I said before. It's grounded in hermeneutics. It's grounded in constructivist epistemologies. Um, it emphasizes subjective experiences and interpretations. Okay, and so it's just a bit different. It's more in depth, I would say that. So when will we use each approach? Well, understanding when to use thematic analysis and interpretive analysis, it's essential for you to understand um, according to your research design. Okay, that's going to help you be able to make this decision. So when do you use thematic analysis? Well, are you interested in identifying broader patterns across a data set? Is your research question seeking to explore commonalities among participants? I want you to ask yourself these questions. And do you want a method that is adaptable across various types of data and suitable for diverse theoretical frameworks? And so, if you are answering yes to any of those questions, then you probably would fall under the thematic analysis category. When do we know when to use interpretive analysis? Well, do you aim to understand the depth and richness of individual participants' experiences? And is your research question focusing on meanings of individuals and what they assign to that meaning, to their lives and their experiences? And lastly, do you want to explore the complexities that are influenced by culture, that are influenced by content, and that are influenced by personal history? And so, if the answer is yes to any of those questions, then you may want to consider IPA or interpretive analysis. In conclusion, both qualitative processes or qualitative analyses, both thematic analysis and interpretive analysis, they're invaluable tools in our qualitative toolbox, and they're much needed when it comes to analyzing that data so that we can get to our findings and complete our study. Thematic analysis provides a flexible framework, again, for identifying patterns, while interpretive analysis deepens our understanding of individual meanings and context. So, to kind of just summarize what I talked about today, thematic analysis focuses on identifying themes across data. And then interpretive analysis, it centers on understanding the meanings that individuals derive from their experiences. Okay, those are the two differences. So, as you plan your research project, I want you to carefully consider which analysis method aligns best with your research goals and your questions. I want to thank you for being with me today. I hope you feel more equipped to navigate the landscape of qualitative analyses and get ready for this next course. As this is the last session of my qualitative series, I remain Dr. Twyla Williams. Until the next exciting research topic.